So I'm just going to spend a couple minutes just real quick breaking down Friday, January 10th NFP real quick. Daily time frame, volume balance on the daily, respected that, coming back down to disrespect and take out the sell side liquidity below these lows into the 50% of the order block right there, the daily order block, that one. 1 hour time frame, midnight opening range, NFP move, daily volume balance, the white lines, displacement into the 50% of the daily order block and look at the reaction back up. 30-minute time frame, the only thing that's really relevant is I was trying to take the sell off the 30-minute order block right here and then displacement down. So the 30-minute order block was in line with the first presented fair value gap right there. That's the shaded boxed. It's right there. And then we displaced to the downside. 3-minute time frame, 3-minute institutional order flow and trivial displacement. And then 1-minute time frame. This is the first presented fair value gap right there. Okay. This is the 3-minute fair value gap, boom, come down, come back up, first presented fair value gap, 30-minute order block, displacement, and then you have your silver bullet, and then moving on the 1-minute time frame, really after all of that, you have a 1-minute break above market structure, institutional order flow, and usual expansion, buy side liquidity was grabbed, and that's pretty much it for Friday. Just that was a pretty rushed analysis. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna try to post every single day and take my time, just as we see today, January 13th, Monday, daily time frame. This was the daily candle to the downside right there. And then coming into, this is just a naked chart on the daily. I don't have any PD arrays, but coming into the 1 hour time frame, we have an opening range gap. Keep this in mind. So the high, middle, low of it will be marked up, and the lower quadrant and the upper quadrant of the opening range gap will be marked up with orange lines. So opening range gap high, opening range gap low. Middle is the dotted orange line, and then this line and that line are the upper quadrant of the opening range gap and the lower quadrant of the opening range gap. We're inside of the 1 hour SIBI. 3 white lines, that's the level of that. 1 hour rejection block is the red line. And then this purplish area is the midnight opening range, and this blue line is the first presented fair value gap for the week. So this is what it looks like on a naked chart, 1 hour time frame with all the PD arrays I just mentioned, 1 hour naked chart. And then into the 1-minute time frame, we tapped a 1-minute fair value gap right there, displacement, tapped, taking out sell side liquidity right there, tapping into the 1 hour rejection block, rip their faces off, come down to the first presented fair value gap, institutional order flow and usual expansion, taking out some of the buy side liquidity here, tapping into the 50% of the 1 hour SIBI, coming back down, fair value gap right there, coming back up again, taking out buy side liquidity above the high here, there, tapping into the 50% of the 1 hour SIBI as well, leaving a fair value gap, institutional order flow and usual displacement down into the first presented fair value gap, down also into the 1 hour rejection block, coming back up. And then this is an inversion fair value gap. You could be a buyer in there. Inversion fair value gap right there. Institutional order flow and usual expansion, taking out the high of the day. All of these highs tapping into the higher upper. So the premium high of the 1 hour SIBI is a white line, tapping into that, and then tapping into the midnight opening range as well. Okay. And then the moving on, we have ourselves after we took out all the buy side liquidity here and tapping into the midnight opening range, we come displaced to the downside first, or this is just a fair value gap displacement, leaving some consolidation, sell side liquidity, tapping into the lower discount low of the fair value gap, SIBI, displacing to the downside, taking out sell side liquidity, first presented fair value gap into that range as well, 1 hour rejection block as well, 1 minute fair value gap as well, come back up, leaving a fair value gap, institutional order flow and entry drill on the 1 minute time frame at the first presented fair value gap, boom, taking out buy side liquidity, and then essentially making its way over to the 1 hour premium high, the premium high of the 1 hour SIBI, and then moving on as well. We kind of just started dancing around the range of the midnight opening range. But one thing I forgot to mention as well is that we were also, you know, the opening range gap low was used as kind of where the consolidation was, and it was used to push price up here. And on the way up, we have the opening range gap lower quadrant there as well, and then making its way up to finally close the 50% of the opening range gap here, coming down, just kind of consolidating, come down to this shaded area in line with the 50% of the 1 hour SIBI. The shaded area as well is a 5-minute fair value gap right there. So keep this actually, so hold on just one sec. This, forgot what this shaded area is. I think this might be a 1 hour. Yeah, this is a 1 hour fair value gap. Okay, so let me show you guys. I guess I don't have the 1 hour here, eh? But okay, whatever. Look for it on your chart. 1 hour fair value gap right here, this shaded box, in line with the 50% of the 1 hour CB, coming back up. 5 minute fair value gap right there. Just keep this in mind, the shaded box. We were respecting the 5 minute fair value gap, which is this shaded box right here. And then also we were at the 50% of the opening range gap with the orange dotted line. And then inside of the midnight opening range, inside of this shaded box, purplish. So 5 minute fair value gap, midnight opening range, purple box, 50% of the opening range gap. And then we have a 1 minute fair value gap right there, inversion fair value gap right there, dancing around in there, and boom, expansion up into the upper quadrant of the opening range gap. And then we have ourselves a fair value gap there and there as well for institutional order flow entry drills. And look at how price was respecting the upper quadrant of the opening range gap to finish off the day. This was a pretty saucy video. So if you know, and if you're an astute student of ICT, you'll appreciate this. So have a good one.